I'm Jill Munroe with KBLA Talk 1580. How are you today?
Jill,
Great, Jill.
off the bat, the paintings in the background are
This
amazing.
you're an amazing. Look at this art around you. Looks incredible.
Thank you so much. I love to hear that. So, starting off, your characters are drafted into this mysterious sort of task force. So, can you give me a little bit of backstory on each of them and what their impressions were of each other when they joined this sort of elite secret group?
Hmm.
Luke Finau works for the LAPD gang unit, gang division, works with weapons, narcotics, and that kind of thing for about 15, 17 odd years. Uh, Really, he has no impression the first time he gets introduced to the squad. I don't think anyone really does. Everyone's kind of locked in on what the mission is and why people from different agencies have been brought in together. Um, and I think what kind of becomes apparent to him early is that this is a solid group of people and a trustworthy group of people, professional and good at their jobs.
Keontae Bell is a third generation federal agent with the FBI. I think when he joins this task force, he's very excited. He's intrigued. He sees an opportunity to shine and advance himself in his career. And I think, to the contrast, he's quite aware of who the other people are in this task force. Not to compete necessarily, but he's always putting the pieces together in his head, even when he's not doing it out loud. And I think that he sees Meacham as someone who's potentially a little reckless and dangerous and too into his own groove. I think he's intrigued by the danger and mystery around Oliveris and wants to know more and is pulled in there. And then obviously has this sort of kinship with the other federal agent too in Shepard. So
Into his own groove. I've never heard
into
that.
his own
I
groove.
like that.
Well, I like to be original and offer, we've done 50 of these and I still have new things to say somehow.
So Uli, for you, I feel like he's such a family man that we learn and seems to be in a different place where, some of the others seem a bit rogue or ready to be right on the edge. He seems to be thinking more about things from a holistic level. So, can you talk a little bit about his character in that aspect and what it means to kind of have a family that he seems to be very active and loving in?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the natural um, perspective of a father, of a parent, a mother as well, is that my family comes first. And working in a dangerous environment like the LAPD, particularly gang unit, I think he's very aware that if something were to happen to him, it doesn't just solely rely on him. There's other repercussions that happen. But I think his awareness of that is definitely present, but it doesn't deter him from taking a step back or anything like that from the job. I think it even pushes him forward.
So, Elliot, last question and wrapping up for Keontae. He has, like you said, a pedigree in this, and we kind of get to see that play out with his opinion and things and his outlook as we develop into the show. Can you talk to me about why that sort of puts him in a different sort of stakes with the group and his outlook throughout this series?
Of course. Well, it's interesting listening to your answer because it made me think that in many ways, for you, family is first, and for Keontae, family is everything behind him that's led him up to this moment. So he's very much forward facing for himself. And I think he's committed to the cause and to bringing about justice. But there is this element of unknown ambition with Keontae, which I wouldn't go so far as to say it makes him dangerous, but it definitely does give him the potential to have a very piercing edge and ability to choose a different direction for himself at any moment. You see a glimpse of what that could look like in our first season. Um, yeah, but I think that's what sets him apart from the others is that it's not that he's selfish, but he's really in it for himself. He is who he's considering. His own ambition is who he's considering and how far he's willing to go to get to where he wants to
But
get.
it's a noble, like you
Yeah,
mentioned, being the first black
FBI director.
FBI director, which is,
Yeah.
when you said that during the shoot, it all kind of like pieced together really,
Yeah, the human
made,
core of
yeah,
what his drive
exactly,
is for sure.
exactly.
Thanks, man.